player will likely ever do. But it may not be enough until he accomplishes what only one other player has already done. This is where greatness lives. This is NFL Total Access. Welcome to NFL Total Access. My name is MJ Acosta-Ruiz. Hey, do our countdowns make time go a little faster for you? I hope so, because we're 11 days away from Super Bowl 55. We've got every angle covered as we get ready for Tampa. Willie McGinnis is in studio with me tonight. Kurt Warner and D'Angelo Hull joining in as well. The Buccaneers staying put in Tampa Bay, their home city, and the host city for the Super Bowl. The Chiefs, of course, with a few more logistics heading into Super Bowl week. But simply put, the Chiefs are rolling. Always a moment away from scoring, never out of a game, and it all starts with Patrick Mahomes, the odds-on favorite to be named Super Bowl MVP. But the chief concern for KC right now, protecting him. Jeff Chadiha has more from Kansas City.
Here in Kansas City, the big question isn't just how will Patrick Mahomes face off against Tom Brady, it's who's going to protect Patrick Mahomes in this contest. Chiefs obviously lost left tackle Eric Fisher to a torn Achilles in last week's AFC Championship game. They've been without right tackle Mitchell Schwartz as he's battled a back injury, and they know not having their two-star tackles in this game is a big deal. The Buccaneers have a great pass rush with Shaq Barrett and Jason Pierre-Paul. They've had 48 sacks on the season, and they want to get after Patrick Mahomes. Now, Andy Reid said he understands this is a big loss, but he also said he has great faith in the players he does have replacing those two players. Mike Reynolds will go to left tackle. Andrew Wiley, a converted guard, will go to right tackle, and they'll see how it goes. But the Chiefs have had offensive problems before and gotten through. They'll try to do it again in this contest.
And we've seen the Chiefs put up video game numbers on offense, and the Bucs do something spectacular on defense throughout the postseason. What we have here is a complete offense and a complete defense. I think the game is decided on that last number you see there. Yeah, 2 sacks allowed versus 7 sacks by the Bucs. And Shaquille Barrett and JPP get to Mahomes like they got to A-Rod. A big hello to Willie McGinnis and D'Angelo Hull joining me, guys. Hey, guys. We're matching and everything, Willie. I love it. D-Hall, too. Everybody got the memo. Willie, can the Bucs defensive line here really slow down Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense?
They're going to have to. If they want a chance to win, they're going to have to figure out how to get it or get to him with 4 people like they did last week against Aaron Rodgers, and I think they will. They got to win the one-on-one battles, and they got to mix in the game. So when you watch what they did last week, and it starts with JPP on the right-hand side, he's winning the one-on-one battles. This is a speed to power against Turner. He's going to speed power, put that pole arm in. Once he gets even with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to come off the block, make an inside move, and crash the pocket for a sack. This is winning the one-on-one battles. And you still got Shaq on the other side containing, so Aaron can't go anywhere, okay? Here's Shaq Barrett, that quick get-off. Watch him. Now, JPP is going to crash the middle of the pocket, but watch Shaq Barrett get off the ball. He's almost 2 yards past the tackle before he gets out of his stance. Great speed rush, dips the shoulder before Aaron can set his feet. Shaq Barrett is right there, and he can't step up because of JPP. All right, now, here's the games that they'll mix in. This is an ET, in and tackle. JPP is going to go first. He's going to crash the B gap in the middle of the pocket. Vita Vea is going to loop around. Sue's going to get doubled, and Shaq Barrett's going to be one-on-one. They have to get home when they run these games. Check it out. You see JPP? He's coming. He's blowing up the middle of the pocket. Aaron can't step up. Vita Vea has contained. Shaq Barrett has the other side and contained. Nowhere for Aaron Rodgers to go but down. They have to continue to do this time and time again against Pat Mahomes and not let him outside the pocket and use that deadly thing that he has that goes deep with the receivers, that arm.
That arm.
Got to cut that out.
And real quick, Willie, someone else was giving JPP some love. Let's check out this tweet by Eli Manning saying he's fired up for his boy going back to another Super Bowl there. Evidently, this was the best pick that he could find, according to this tweet. That's not bad. In Hawaii with delays, I mean, I'm here for it. D-Hall, we know that you love a matchup, my friend. What are you watching for in Super Bowl 55?
Well, let me tell you what, guys. I'm going to be watching this matchup that I don't think too many people are talking about. It's going to be these Kansas City running backs, right? Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Le'Veon Bell, Darrell Williams, versus these two dynamic inside linebackers by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I feel like I hear so many people talking about them, but I've been on these guys since the start of the season because I've seen an evolution at the linebacker position. No more do you need those 6'4", no offense, Willie, 6'4", 250-pound linebackers to stuff the run.
Wow.
These guys are 6 feet, 230 to 35 pounds. Willie, these dudes are like safeties, man. Watch how they run, man. Look at this, man. Devin White just taking on the ball carrier, man, forcing them back. Alvin Kamara is one of the hardest dudes to tackle. Levante David still stuffing that run. But I tell you what, something else that I'm looking for in this matchup is not only these guys stuffing the run, but how they play in the pass game. That's going to be crucial. Willie just showed y'all how JPP and Shaq Barrett's able to get pressure. When they get pressured, they allow those linebackers to sit back in those zones because you can't play man-to-man against Tyreek Hill and the rest of those boys out there. I think Todd Bowles understands that from that other matchup they had earlier in the season. So these linebackers fly around all over the football field, and I just love the way they play, man. Willie, these two are the best two middle linebackers in the National Football League. I kind of compare them to Navarro Bowman and Pat Willis back in those San Fran days when they were wrecking shop on those 49er defenses.
Yeah, D-Hall, they're really good. And I thought we were brothers. You could have made me feel good and said they're not 6'5", 265. They don't make them like you anymore, so this is what they're doing now.
Special edition.
You could have made me feel good, man.
You know he wasn't about to do that at all. Listen, if there's ever a game that you want to make sure you win a matchup, though, D-Hall, to your point, it's in the Super Bowl. All right, guys, thanks.
First and 10 from the 27. Warner back to throw. Rainbow's the far sideline, and it is caught by Isaac Bruce. Makes a move to the 30, 25-20, and they won't catch him today. Touchdown Rams! The St. Louis Rams are the world champions.
Taking it back with Kurt Warner, who joins me now. And Kurt, you are one of the few NFL quarterbacks like Tom Brady who won a Super Bowl, switched teams, and then made it back to the big show. Oh, so close there to winning it again with the Cardinals back in 2008. But set the table for us here. What's going through Tom Brady's mind right now as he tries to bring one home for the Buccaneers?
Well, there's two sides of this, MJ, is that first, there's always a personal side, right? And we know Tom Brady, how great he's been, how he strives to go to Super Bowls, win championship. That's what he's been about his entire career. But the other side of that is taking an organization somewhere that they haven't been in a long time, taking your teammates somewhere that they've never been before. And quite frankly, there's probably a lot of guys that didn't know if they would ever be in this moment. I remember when I went to the Super Bowl, actually in Tampa, with the Cardinals, and part of the joy of that process was watching everybody else go through it. Watching my teammates that never thought that they would be here, played a number of years in the league and never thought they would be in the playoffs or compete for a championship. The organization, not sure many people in the organization ever believed they would play in a Super Bowl. And so I heard Tom Brady talk about it a little bit this week where he said, this isn't really about me as much as it's about everyone else. And that's exactly what it feels like when you have an opportunity to take an organization to this point that hasn't been there. You enjoy watching this process through the eyes of everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, it's not new to Tom, but certainly new for quite a few people. But when you think of the matchup here, Kurt, this will be the fifth meeting between Brady and Mahomes, including the playoffs, and even split at 2 wins apiece while passing numbers give the edge to the reigning MVP. But listen, it's only right that these two really split their head-to-head or break their head-to-head tie here in the Super Bowl. Mahomes statistically a little bit better there when these two meet in the past, but the whole world is chasing what Tom Brady knows the real meaning of it here, rings. So how do you see this playing out now that Tom is leading the Bucs?
Well, you know, I'm going to lean towards the young guy here, and it's so hard to say because Tom Brady has been so great in this moment and so great throughout his entire career. But I just feel like this Chiefs offense and Patrick Mahomes is playing at another level. You know, they've got speed, they've got explosiveness. We remember what happened earlier in the year when these two teams played and the Chiefs jumped out big early. Now, Tampa was able to kind of settle in and fight back and make it a game late. But I think it's going to be so important for Tom Brady to start fast, to make some plays early in this game, to at least go swing for swing with the Chiefs and give them hope. And then there's no question, you can't turn the football over. That's the thing you can't do against this Chiefs offense. We saw 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions by Tom Brady last week. Cannot happen again if you're going to stay up with this high-powered Chiefs offense.
It's going to be a battle like no other. This is what we earned after this season, Kurt, without question. All right, Kurt, stick around because for all of you at home wondering, hey, what's next season going to bring for my team? Don't you worry, because Kurt is going to give us his top 3 QB storylines for 2021. That's a little later in the show. We'll shift to the big story of the day now with our NFL insider, Ian Rappaport. And Ian, some very disturbing details coming out of Seattle in a very serious domestic violence situation.
That's right. Chad Wheeler, a reserve offensive lineman for the Seattle Seahawks, has officially been waived because of his participation in a really, as you mentioned, disturbing situation over the weekend. He was arrested on suspicion of felony domestic violence for allegedly assaulting his girlfriend. He is accused of being in, quote, according to the police report, a physical fight with his girlfriend. The victim called 911 saying that she thought she was going to be killed. She eventually, according to police, had a dislocated arm, had trouble breathing, allegedly because he was attempting to strangle her. Obviously, all a bad situation that the Seahawks moved away from. Was a restricted free agent, I'm told, was not going to be back. Meanwhile, MJ, the NFL released a statement saying they were reviewing this under the NFL's personal conduct policy, faces significant punishment from the NFL. And then Wheeler just a couple minutes ago tweeted that he is walking away from football and he is seeking help so he does not pose a risk to any other individual.
And Ian, if you just look across the landscape of sports and certainly to the response to this story, it cuts deep, no question. There is no room for domestic violence, period. Not in the NFL, not anywhere. And the Seattle Seahawks released a statement saying the Seahawks are saddened by the details emerging against Chad Wheeler and strongly condemn this act of domestic violence. Our thoughts and support are with the victim. They go on to say, if you're experiencing domestic violence, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That number is 1-800-799-7233, or you can go to the hotline.org. Help is available if you need it. We'll be right back after the break. NFL Total Access. From the file marked act like you've been there before, Kurt Warner has been there before. Our resident Hall of Famer is back talking quarterbacks in transition. It's a story of renewal, relocation, and retirement. We're also going man to man, unit to unit, and staff to staff to answer one question: who's got the edge? Plus, from the Wake Forest football team to Saints rookie camp to The Bachelor to right here on the show. Matt James is our special guest, still to come on NFL Total Access. Did you know Tom Brady has more Super Bowl appearances than the Bucs have playoff wins? The difference in Tampa is TB. Sarah Walsh is in Tampa with more on Brady and the Bucs.
Here in Tampa, Bucs GM Jason Light addressed the media for really the first time this season. And he said as a GM, you always envision getting to the Super Bowl, but it's when they signed Tom Brady that it began to feel real. He said it was the confidence in which Brady spoke about coming here. He also gave a lot of credit to his coach, Bruce Arians. He said not only did they get along well, but he said they also argue well. For his part, BA appeared on Tampa radio station WDAE today and said don't expect to see Antoine Winfield Jr. or Antonio Brown out at practice this week. That is something that they will roll out with those guys next week. And when asked if he would just sail off into the sunset if he wins the Super Bowl and retired, he had a very quick answer. He said, hell no, I'd go for 2.
Love it. Listen, Willie, all season you've been breaking down what it takes to beat an opponent. So here we go. Biggest game of the year. What are your keys to victory for the Bucs to take down the Chiefs?
I feel like I need an extra paycheck from the teams because I'm giving them the gold if they're paying attention. So the 4 keys, okay, for this week for the Bucs. All right. Key number 1, the defensive backs. You have to jam the receivers. Everybody looks to Kansas City Chiefs. Receivers run free. Be physical at the line. Jam them. Throw out the timing. Don't let Pat Mahomes get rid of the ball on time. Allow your pass rush to get there. Okay? Now, you get to key number 2. The other thing that you have to do if you're the Bucs is you have to give this running game a shot. Be consistent with it. Run these big guys you got in the backfield with Rojo and Leonard Fournette. Control the trenches, the line of scrimmage. Also, give Brady a clean pocket. That's part of being physical. Let him deliver the ball. Don't let Chris Jones and Clark destroy the game for them, okay? Key number 3, stop the Chiefs in the second quarter.
Oh, okay.
No team has scored more points in the last 2 years in the playoffs than the Kansas City Chiefs in the second quarter. Little details like this can win you big games, MJ.
That's a big
Don't
detail.
let them get going in the second quarter. Slow them down. And last but not least, we all know this. Don't give the Chiefs. They're not playing the Packers. The Chiefs explosive plays. They average 8 explosive plays per game.
Oh.
We know how explosive the receivers are, how fast they are. Don't give it to them. Make them go long, hard road is what we call it. Go the long, hard road. That's not bombs and going over the top. Okay, slow them down.
Just don't make it easy for them to just go in there, march down the field, and do everything they
already
need
took care
to
of
do.
the cheese. I said
Right.
the cheese heads.
It's okay.
My
Listen,
bad.
I love a cheese board. It's my favorite food group. All right, Willie, thanks. And this is what the future of the NFL could look like. It's Reese's Senior Bowl week in Mobile with both teams on the field today. We will have a full recap of practice tonight after Total Access. The game kicks off at 2:30 Eastern on Saturday afternoon right here on the NFL Network. Here's Andrew Siciliano, Daniel Jeremiah, and Bucky Brooks with more on today's practice.
So the first day of the Reese's Senior Bowl, you learn a little bit. The second day, you put that to work on the field. Daniel Jeremiah, who looked good to you Wednesday?
Well, who looked good actually looked good, and who played good. It's the same person. It's Quinn Miners here, the big center from Wisconsin Whitewater, who lets the belly hang out and then handles his business. He was dominant yesterday when I went back and watched the tape, and today he carried that over. More pancake blocks in the run game and more outstanding reps in pass protection. He has made himself a lot of money this week.
DJ, you talk about another guy who has made a lot of money. Hunter Long, the tight end from Boston College, has been very, very impressive. And when you look at him, he is one of the most natural wide tight ends that is in the draft. And then he's shown that his ability to get out of his stance, he can run routes, he has soft hands. We see that he is a willing blocker. And so when I think about it, I think he is going to be a guy that pushes for that number 2 tight end spot right behind Kyle Pitts.
A great part of the week here in Mobile is getting to know so many of these players like DJ, your guy Quinn Miners from Wisconsin Whitewater, who says that he enjoys pancaking players as much as he enjoys pancaking trees because he works out in Canada in the offseason next to a river hitting trees. It's that kind of week. The Reese's Senior Bowl recap show. More fun like that and more work on the field coming up Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll also elbow our way in to NFL Now.
All right, see more on today's practice immediately following Total Access at 8 Eastern. All this points to the 2021 NFL Draft set for Cleveland on April 29th. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the clock. The Jets have the number 2 overall pick, followed by the Dolphins. Thank you, Texans, for that. Last year's number 1 draft pick, Joe Burrow and the Bengals picking 5th, with the Panthers, Broncos, and Cowboys rounding out the top 10. Coming up this week, we're not just talking about Brady and Mahomes, we're talking to Brady and Mahomes, the Super Bowl 55 quarterbacks at the microphone Thursday, and we won't miss a word of it. Friday, is this man the Brady whisperer? Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo engineered one of history's biggest upsets when his Giants defense stunned the undefeated Patriots back in Super Bowl 42. Let the Spags know that no one else seems to. But first, Kurt Warner is back with an eye on the future, specifically the futures of Matt Stafford, Drew Brees, and Deshaun Watson. It's next on NFL Total Access.
Nice to meet you, man. You too, man. A lot of respect for you, bro. Don't even, that makes me old, man. That makes me old. Don't do it, all right?
No better day than game day. Let's go.
Every one of you, man. We put it in. We sacrifice. We fly around, we make plays, and we dominate all night long. Hey, whoop their ass on 3. 1, 2, 3. Whoop their ass.
That was kind of sweet.
That's a record. Is it? Oh, yeah.
Yes! Yes!
You gotta play street ball sometimes. Yeah.
Nice job, boys. Way to hang in there. All day, just like that. Make it personal, baby. Let's go. Good to see you too, bro. I gotta give you my number 2. Hell yeah. You keep changing up on me. I know. We should have won, baby. We should have won, baby. We should have won.
Great playing, bro. Had a great season. Yeah, way to go. Take care, man. You too.
Oh, okay. Hey, get a ball. Go to the mini, man. Go to the mini. For sure.
Love you, kiddo. How about that?
Good job.
Go another Super Bowl, baby. What do you think? I love you, man.
Time for Kurt's top 3. And listen, Kurt, we heard you talk Brady and Mahomes earlier, but Hey, there's 30 other teams now who are looking ahead, and those fans want to know what's going to happen now. So what are your top 3 QB storylines for next season?
I mean, it's amazing, MJ. We're not even to the Super Bowl yet. And we're talking about all these different quarterback storylines and what the league is going to look like next year. So as we get into it, number 3 for me is the New Orleans Saints. Now, if Drew Brees comes back, this is a moot point, of course, that, he comes back and he's leading this team. But we all speculate that he won't be there. And so now what? Is it Taysom Hill? We saw him start a couple times this year. Is it Jameis Winston? Do you re-sign him and make him the heir apparent? He seems to be a better fit for what they do offensively. Or is it somebody not in the building yet? So I'm excited to see what happens there. At the number 2 spot, it's got to be Matthew Stafford. When that news dropped this past week that he's on the trade block, now you start to speculate. Man, he's only 32 years old. We know how talented this guy is. A lot of people believe that he can make anybody into a contender. Where does he end up? Could it be New Orleans? Could it be Indianapolis with Phillip Rivers retiring? What about a division rival in Chicago that's been looking for a quarterback? So I'm excited to see what plays out in the Matthew Stafford sweepstakes. And then, of course, number 1, we seem to be talking about this for a number of weeks now, and that's where will Deshaun Watson be next year? Will they be able to mend those fences in Houston and bring back their dynamic franchise guy? Or will this just get to the point where it's like, hey, I've got to go somewhere else. We've got to get rid of him. And then where does he end up? I know we've heard speculation about New York and the Jets. Does that happen? And then what happens to Sam Darnold from there? So the Deshaun Watson saga is probably the number 1 storyline going into the offseason. Everybody wants to see how is this thing going to play out.
And Kurt, I'll add one more question here because what I want to know, those 3 storylines, which one gets resolved or will we get an answer for first? Kurt, it has been a crazy season and still a little bit more left. We look forward to you and the entire Game Day Morning crew getting us started with 8.5 hours of Super Bowl Sunday coverage. That starts at 9 a.m. Eastern, Super Bowl Sunday right here on NFL Network. Going across the NFL, Jared Goff's overall record as the Rams quarterback is pretty strong, but it's not keeping his job completely secure. Ian Rappaport reporting an open quarterback competition between Goff and backup John Wolford should be expected this summer if Los Angeles does not trade Goff before the Rams open camp. And the Washington football team made NFL history Tuesday when they added Jennifer King to their roster as assistant running backs coach. Jennifer tweeted this out earlier. I wanted to take a second to thank everyone for all of the love over the past few days and wanted to give a big shout out to agent Nicole Lynn, her rep, for the hard work. King shared her story with Robin Roberts on Good Morning America today.
If somebody doesn't have somebody in the field that they're pursuing that looks like them, what's your advice to them?
Yeah, I think it's just having that personal mantra of really trying to be so good that you can't be denied and just keep going. There'll be hardships for you. There'll be struggles and difficulties, but if it's something that you really want, you have to find a way to get it done and not take no for an answer.
Ooh, we here, man. Championship Sunday.
Keep that camera on me, dog.
Look where we at now. We gonna go play at home next week. We like that. We been here.
Birthday today, man. Come on, help me to punch that ticket. One more to go. Job not done. We on the Tampa though. Hey, keep the camera on me, dog. I'm going crazy. For the city, I go crazy, man. This is what I do, man. Hey, we going back to the bowl, man. Huh?
Hey, way to ball. Go to man. Great playing, bro. Been a great season. Yeah, way to go. Take care, man. You too.
It's time for Tale of the Tape. Willie and D-Hall, I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on the spot again for a Super Bowl edition of Tale of the Tape. And the category is quarterback.
Oh, boy.
D-Hall, who has the edge under center here?
Oh, man, this is a great matchup, right? Our very own Levy, he's a wordsmith. He came up with the GOAT versus the kid, and I like that. But I'm going to have to go with the kid, man. When you think about Patrick Mahomes and that extreme arm talent, his ability to, if a guy is open, a free rusher, he can still elude that guy and make any throw on the football field. Come on, Willie. I know Tom Brady's your boy, but come on, man. You gotta agree with me here.
Yeah, he's only in his 10th Super Bowl. He's just Tom Brady. It's only the GOAT.
You knew which way he was going with this.
I think he's going about young talent versus, I don't know what the criteria was, but anyway.
All right, Willie, what about the receivers?
I'm going to say, give me to the receivers right now before I blow a gasket. I'm going with the Bucs and the receivers. And the reason why I'm going with them is arguably they got 3 #1 receivers in Godwin, Evans, and AB, who will be back for this game. And don't forget about Scotty Miller and Gronk and all the rest of the guys. But if you talk about playoffs and regular season, they lead all receivers with receiving touchdowns, okay? So they're getting in the end zone, they're making big plays, and it's a lot to deal with. It's not a one and then everybody else. It's everybody together is dangerous.
Team first.
Yes.
All right, I hear you. D-Hall, let's take it to the backfield. What about running backs?
I'm going to have to go with the Bucs in this one. When I saw Leonard Fournette make that run, I said, oh, my goodness, I think he's back. And obviously the way Rojo has been running all throughout the course of this season, when he's healthy, I just think if Bruce Arians and Brian Leftwich believe in this run game and they a steady dose of that run game, I like those running backs, man. I love them.
Yep.
It was that spin move for you, huh? I know which one you're talking about. Willie, which defense are you riding with here?
I'm going with the Bucs. And I love Kansas City. I love Tyrann Mathieu. I love Chris Jones. And I love Clark. But the whole front four, okay, with the Bucs, they can get after the quarterback and win the one-on-ones. Then you already said it, D-Hall, 2 of the best backers, middle linebackers in the league. And then when you add what they can do on the back end, once they're playing at a high level, I got to go with the Bucs defense. They're fast, they're athletic, they can play in space, they get to the quarterback, and they make big plays like you see right here. They take the ball away.
All right, we're 3-1 Bucs thus far. So last but not least, D-Hall, the men behind the plays. Who you got at coach?
I'm probably have to, and I know BA's a VTech guy, Willie. This even showing you my non-bias right here, all right? I'm going with Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, and Steve Spagnuolo. When I think of those coaches on that staff, man, Andy Reid's creativity, they've been there before. This offense that Eric Bieniemy has been so creative with alongside Andy Reid. Spagnuolo, one of the only guys to beat Tom Brady in a Super Bowl. Come on, Willie. I got to be right on that.
He really rubbing it in today.
He
is rubbing it in
he
today.
He says it with conviction.
Willie, you the OG, baby. You the OG.
And it looks like you guys overall are giving the edge to the Bucs in this one. And listen, Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, while we're on the coaches topic, will have to be game planning with Devin White firmly in their minds. He has been unbelievable this season. And in today's Baldy's Breakdown, Brian Baldinger tells us why Devin White has been a nightmare for opposing offenses.
Come on into Baldy's Super Bowl Breakdowns, and in this video, I want to take a look at the quarterback of the Bucs defense, Devin White, and his speed and instincts, and how defensive coordinator Todd Bowles likes to use that in the framework of the defense. And here last week against the Green Bay Packers, watch him replace the slot defender, Sean Murphy-Bunting. Now, not many guys have the speed to replace him. They get a blitzer to the quarterback, but Devin White gets to the sideline to make the tackle. They run the same blitz again from the other side. But this time, Devin White's got to cover Davante Adams in space like this. Not many linebackers are ever asked to do something like that. Now, when Aaron Jones goes out here into a wide receiver position, Devin White goes out there with him. And he has the speed to stay with Aaron Jones down the field. Now, Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw it to him. He checks it down over the middle. Now, watch him right here. He's going to carry the tight end, Robert Tonyan. That's where Rodgers wants to go. He deters the throw, and then when he checks it down, he's there to clean up on Aaron Jones, one of his 15 tackles on the day. This is a special play. This is a flanker drive. He gets picked right here by Davante Adams. But when Jordan Whitehead comes and pops that ball loose, there's Devin White. With the pickup and the fumble, that would lead to an important touchdown by the Bucs offense. And then the final play of the Packers season, there's Devin White taking away Davante Adams right now. Now he takes away Allen Lazard and forces Aaron Rodgers to throw an errant ball in the middle to Davante Adams. The speed and the instincts and the way that Devin White plays is a big part of this Tampa defense and something that the Chiefs have got to pay attention to in Super Bowl 55.
On Total Access, Matt James, thank you very much for coming through today.
What's going on, MJ? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And listen, I watched the show. very intently every week. And in this week's episodes, more women were brought into the mix several weeks into the process. I'm wondering, is this sort of like drafting a QB in the first round when you already have a franchise guy under center, or nah?
This is more the recruiting process. You know, it's like you're at a rival's top 100 camp, and the last day of camp they bring in 5 more 5-star QBs. So it's like the competition's picked up, and you haven't sent out any verbal commitments yet. You haven't had any offers or official visits accepted. So we're still in that recruiting process.
I love it. He just kept it going with the NFL analogy. Great, Matt James. All right. You are the first Black Bachelor in the show's history. Can you just walk me through what that experience has been like for you?
Yeah, it's been an honor. And I put a lot of pressure on myself because I know that I represent a lot more than just who I am now. I represent a lot of people. And I take great pride in that. And I want to make sure that through this journey and the way I carry myself and handle my business, that it's a pathway for more people who look like me to be in this position.
No doubt. Representation matters. I say this constantly. And actually, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are making some history as well, becoming the first team with 3 Black coordinators to reach the Super Bowl. I mean, how does this speak to the importance of diversity in all spaces?
Shout out to Bruce Arians. Shout out to Andy Reid. We'll talk about Bruce Arians because of the coordinators. I mean, he's the prime example of what intentionality looks like, intentionally looking to fill those spaces with people who wouldn't have the opportunity to be there. And you've seen what happens when they've been given a chance. They excel. And I'm hoping, like my position, I hope that this bridges that gap for people who look like us to step into positions who are just as qualified as the next person to lead these young men to a Super Bowl like they've done. So kudos to Bruce Arians and being a person who's extremely intentional with his methodology and hiring practices. Same for Andy Reid and KC, and I'm rooting for him.
And clearly, it's a winning recipe on top of that, Matt. All right, no one should forget, though, you know your football, my friend. Clearly, as you've shown here, you've played wide receiver at Wake Forest, spent some time with both the Saints and the Panthers in their rookie camps. Which of the Super Bowl-bound receiving corps would receive a rose, the Chiefs or the Bucs receivers? Steph.
That's a tough question. I've got to go with my Bucs. You've got. I mean, pick your poison. You've got Mike Evans, a 6'5" big body. He's going to box out that corner and just isolate that one-on-one matchup in the red zone. You've got Chris Godwin, who can do it all. He's a speedster. You've got Gronk. You've got Braid. You've got Scotty Miller, who's a blazer. He's so fast, and he's a comparable cheetah piece for the Buccaneers. You've got a great running game in Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. I mean, pick your poison. Like, how do you want to have it? I think a lot of what we didn't see out of the Bills was a strong running game, and you're going to see that with Tampa Bay. If they can establish it earlier, it just opens up the game for Brady. So I'm excited for him.
Who do you have winning the Super Bowl, Chiefs or Bucs?
Oh, that's a no-brainer. Not who do I think is going to win. The Bucs will win. Moneyline Bucs. It's not going to be close. Again, the key is Tampa starting and establishing that running game early. We saw a handful of teams giving KC problems. I'm not discrediting what they've done this year, but I am a betting man, and the money is on the Buccaneers.
We'll have to run that back after Super Bowl Sunday and see if you were correct. Matt, I will leave you with this, my friend. At the end of this, I hope to see you engaged, happy, and in love. But listen, I got engaged last year, the night before the Super Bowl in my hometown, and then compared bling with Jerry Rice right after. So I'm just saying, make it good, my brother. Make it good. Matt James, thank you so much for joining us. You can, of course, see The Bachelor Mondays at 8 p.m. on ABC. They hold the keys to the kingdom and a chance at immortality in their very hands. Their performances will determine if their team triumphs or gets toppled, at least according to Willie and D-Hall. Super Bowl 55 impact players to watch are next.
D-Hall TV coming to you live. Holla! Best in the business. That's what I don't want to throw it at.
Have you ever seen anything like that? The playmaker does it again.
He is zeroed in on Jay Cutler.
How good is that?
D'Angelo Hall, always greedy with the ball, but generous with his analysis. So, D-Hall, you've been watching these dudes like a hawk all season long. So go ahead and give me your top 5 most impactful players for Super Bowl 55. Start the countdown for me.
Yeah, MJ, well, I'm going to start at number 5. And as you've seen on my highlight, you got to make plays. And so Devin White, Levante David, the biggest playmakers at the linebacker position in the National Football League, these dudes have to show up big, and they will. I mean, you think about the way Devin White plays the run game, plays the passing game. His Bass brother, Levante David, does the exact same thing. I think these two dudes are going to be crucial in the success of Tampa Bay and stopping that run. And then we got my number 4 impact player, right? It's Chris Godwin. With Antonio Brown, not knowing his status, if he's going to be out there or not, this guy has to show up. And you saw Tom Brady in crucial situations go to Chris Godwin. He had a drop earlier, but he bailed Tom Brady out on one of those deep balls. I think that's it right there. Way to go out there and make a play for your guy. Chris Godwin, we need that from you. And then Mike Evans at number 3, right? He is their number 1 receiver. I saw Bashaud Breeland for the Kansas City Chiefs locking Stephon Diggs up. If you don't think he's going to be ready for Mike Evans in that 6'5" frame, he is going to be locked in and ready to go. And so Mike Evans has to show up in the red zone, down the field. He has to go make plays for Tom Brady. Now, number 2, JPP and Shaq Barrett. You have to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Look, that was Aaron Rodgers a second ago. If you can make Aaron Rodgers look normal, you probably got a chance to make anybody look normal. But Patrick Mahomes is a different guy. He eludes that pressure so smooth. I'm going to be looking at this matchup to see if those guys can get after those backup tackles. And then number 1, it is the all-pro brothers, Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. When I think about playing DB in this league, these are the kind of dudes that made me retire, man, because they are matchup nightmares. Travis Kelce works the middle of the field with just so much wiggle. Tyreek Hill, I know Willie said go press him, but a lot of times dudes don't want to press him because if you miss him, he is gone. He just has that elite speed, man, and quickness. So these two dudes are the total package at the receiver position. And so you got size and speed from both of these guys. And so I'm looking for a big day out of those two guys with Patrick Mahomes throwing that ball, MJ.
D-Hall, I love that you hit us with a few duos. So technically it was a top 8 impactful players. It's a Super Bowl. I get it.
MJ, it's a lot. A lot of ballers out there.
I'm here for it. All right, T-Hall, thank you. And Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares is back, y'all, with millions of dollars in prizes. It's the largest official game of Super Bowl Squares ever. And guess what? It's free. Every time the score changes during Super Bowl 55, one lucky winner will receive $50,000. Plus, Rocket Mortgage is giving away 2 grand prizes. How much? $500,000. I mean, you can use that for your dream home. See rules, enter for free. Head over to rocketmortgagesquares.com. All right, Adrian Peterson is the latest guest on the Total Access, the Locker Room podcast that dropped this morning on Apple, Spotify, and all your favorite places to find podcasts. Make sure you like and subscribe as well. AP talks with Michael Robinson and Brian Billick about why he's at his best when he's up against the best.
This week on Total Access, the Locker Room. What's the mindset when you know you're going up against a top defense? You know during the week on Wednesday when we start game planning, the coach, you know this, the head coach is going to walk into the team meeting room, put 28 on the board and circle.
This is the guy we got to stop.
This is the guy we have to stop.
For me, I'm always hyped up because I love going against the best, because I feel like, we can prove something okay, this is the best defense out there. We're going to run the ball down your throat.
Scan the QR code on the screen right now for the latest episode of Total Access, The Locker Room. Like us and subscribe. New episodes every Wednesday and Friday on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
It will be different than years past, but make no mistake, NFL Honors on Super Bowl Saturday night is a go. After the break on NFL Total Access, from the Offensive Player of the Year to the MVP, the difference between what should happen and what could.
NFL Total Access is brought to you by Volvo.
But there's still Super Bowl Saturday night. Kevin Frazier and our own Kay Adams host a celebration of 10 years of the biggest stars to walk the red carpet, plus a look back at some of the greatest moments from a decade of NFL Honors Award shows. It's Super Bowl Saturday night, February 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern on NFL Network. So my hope here, Willie, is that everyone still sort of dresses up.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're gonna. I'm going to, and I'm not even going.
I'm dressing up. I might be somewhere.
Always though. You know D-Hall has it too. Come on. All right, listen. What would surprise you most, though, at NFL Honors this year?
But before I answer that question, I see why D-Hall is scarred. I did a little research with Eric Lemus, and I went back and I saw that Brady, you played Brady twice. He threw for 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. I see where it's coming from. A little scar. But anyway, the other travesty that I might see at Honors is if Derrick Henry does not win Offensive Player of the Year. Okay, led the league in rush touchdowns, carries once again, and he's been like a beast and pretty much the MVP for his team. All right, my bad, D-Hall. I see where it's coming from, brother. I'm sorry.
Nah, Willie, it was bad, man. Having a couple of runs broken for 5 minutes with no pass rush, you can only imagine. But you like Derrick Henry. I tell you what, man, I like Devontae Adams, man. If Devontae Adams doesn't come home with his offensive MVP, 18 touchdowns, Willie, come on, man. I'm rocking with Devontae Adams. He's unguardable.
You know what? I see this MVP